Hello, my name is Keshwani. It's K-E-S-H-W-A-N-I, Keshwani. We are here because we want to improve our English. We want to improve our vocabulary. We do so by learning few new words every day. Today is our day number 17. The words that I want to learn, the words that we want to learn today are only 3 words. Or maybe more, who knows? Are reprisal, retribution, restitution, and finally reparation. So I lied already. This obviously we have more than 3 words there. All of these four words, basically, generally speaking, loosely speaking, means the same thing, which means to make up for your wrongdoing in one way or the other, to pay for what you did wrong. But they have different nuances. They have different nuances. And if you still do not know what the word nuance means, go to the video for the day 1. Just type in Keshwani Prep -vocab -day 1. The very first word that I covered on the very first day was nuance, which means minute differences or shades of meanings. I want to understand these 4 words a little bit better than what I do right now. So let's see what we can do. Because I always found them confusing. Let's start with the word reprisal. First of all, I just realized it's not reprisal, it's reprisal. Reprisal. Reprisal is reprisal. Reprisal rather. R would have been like this. It's reprisal, even though it's R-E. Reprisal simply means it's a noun which is why you must always make a point of putting the pronunciation along with the word, because as I've told you many times, you cannot simply go by what the word looks like, the spelling of it, that is. Reprisal means payment you may require from someone, SO means someone, for the damages they did to you. And that's a reprisal. It means you require payment from somebody for something that they have done, for some damage that they have caused. And that's a reprisal. If somebody broke a window, you want them to pay for the repair of the window, or somebody banged your car up, you had the car left in the parking lot and somebody damaged it. A reprisal would be for them to pay you so that you can repair the damages. It also means it could be in the form of a payment, in the form of monetary payment, or it can also be retaliation for an injury or damages. It has 2 meanings. It can be used either way. It could be either in the form of a monetary payment. You require them to pay for the damages so that you can repair your window or your car or something, or you go and take your revenge. Taking the revenge, inflicting some sort of a damage or injury on the other person because that person did something to you, the retaliation is also called reprisal. How do So that's it. That's the end of reprisal. That's this part right here. Let's move on to the next one, restitution. Rather, retribution. I have to put them in the same order because you will see in a second why. This word here. Retribution. What is a retribution? A retribution means exactly same as, well, not exactly, but it's almost the same as reprisal. There is hardly any difference at all. They both mean the same thing. Restitution, or rather retribution, that is. Retribution and reprisal and retribution, they mean the same thing, which means to require somebody to pay you for the damages that they have inflicted on you, or to go and do the same damage, well, not necessarily same damage, but to go and do a damage on them as a revenge, as a retribution, as a retaliation. Oh, I just used the word in the definition itself. Where else the word restitution is different. Restitution is not requiring somebody to pay to make up for something that they did wrong. Restitution has a nuance of returning the goods or whatever it is that was stolen, taken away from the owner, and give it back to the rightful owner. That is restitution. Restitution means whatever it was that was taken from the rightful owner, the legal owner of the property, return those goods to the owner. So, for example, if a thief is caught and police find some goods on him, to returning those goods to the place where he stole those goods from, that process is called restitution. To return, let me erase this thing so I can actually write down the definition of the word restitution. And then we'll come to reparation in a second. Anyway, we're done. So here we're talking about a monetary payment or actual physical action where you go and do the same, well, not, as I said, you go and inflict some injury or damage on the person because they did something to you. Reprisal and retribution. Whereas here, in restitution, we're talking about returning something that belonged to the original owner. Let's put it here. Restitution or it's pronounced restitution or restitution. Restitution or restitution, both of those are considered as acceptable pronunciation, and it simply means, as I already said, returning to rightful owner what has been taken illegally from him or her. Or if you cannot find that something that was stolen from him or her in order to return that actual physical thing to the owner, then it can also be used as or giving him something of equal value. Giving him something of equal value. So if you cannot actually find the television, if you are unable to actually return the television that you stole from me, then you have to buy another TV comparable to what you stole and give the television to me. And that process is called restitution. Here, there is no connotation of revenge or getting back at somebody, unlike reprisal and restitution. This is more of a court process, restitution. The court will not encourage or condone. Oh, here's a good word. I'm going to put this on the side so we can learn it in the future. I'm going to make a note to myself before I forget it. It's a good word to know. And while we're learning the word condone, we will also learn the word, I'm digressing here big time, and for those of you who do not know what digress, it means to go off a topic. Digress is something that I've already covered in the previous video, I don't know which day. Digress means to go off topic. I'm digressing here big time. When I talk about the word condone, at the same time we'll also talk about the word sanction. Sanction is a very tricky word. Sanction has two meanings. One meaning of the word sanction is what we hear in the media, where one nation imposes or group of nations impose sanction on another nation. But sanction as a verb means to approve of something. If you sanction something, that means you approve of it. It's a very tricky word. We'll learn it when the time comes. Condone has the same meaning. To condone something is to give you a nod. Say, okay, it's all right. Go ahead and do it. To approve of it. How did the word come about? Oh, what I was saying is that this word, as you can see, restitution, is a very different word than these two words. These two words, reprisal and retribution, have a connotation of getting back at somebody for the damages or for the injury that they cause, and you ask them to pay for the payments for the injury. The value of the good does not come into picture at all. It's just pay for my injuries. That's it. Whereas restitution is more of a court process where for some physical objects, where the court will order the person to either to return what belongs to you, or the court will say, ask the person to buy something of comparable value, something comparable, and give it to you. That's restitution. That's it. Let's go on to the last one, reparation. Now, reparation is altogether entirely different word in the sense that let's first write down the pronunciation. Reparation is an entirely different word compared to the other three because it has a nuance of how do you write atonement? It has a nuance of atonement. What does it mean to atone? To atone here is a verb, means to make amends. To make amends means to say sorry in a sense. There is a sense of saying sorry, we did something bad, and here it is, we're going to do something to make up for something. That nuance of atonement does not exist in any of these. In the reprisal, of course, reprisal and retribution are entirely different thing because you are doing something to the other person. Whereas here, the person who did the wrong thing to you comes to you, and as an atonement, as a way of saying sorry, offers something, and that is called reparation. Reparation in the plural has a different meaning, which I'll come to in a second. So it means to make amends. Good synonym for it, good synonym for reparation, which is a noun of course, and the good synonym would be expiation. Which simply means atonement. Expiation means atonement. You must have heard of expression atoning for one's sins. Atoning for one's sins. To atone for your sins is to somehow do something to make up for your wrongdoing. That's atoning, that's atonement. And that's what reparation is. It has the synonym of reparation is expiation. Let's see, what else do I have here? And atonement, of course. I want to talk about this word for a second here. Amen. Lastly. But because I'm running out of room here, I'm going to have to erase everything and take care of it. But before I do that, I want to make sure I did not leave out anything. So again, one more time. The synonym of reparations are expiation and atonement. As you can see, expiation, atonement, reparation means to, well, as it says, atonement, to atone for your wrongdoing, to make amends. That's what reparation is. What does a reparation mean in plural? Let's talk about that for a second. I need to erase everything because I'm running out of room. So now we'll talk about the same word, but in plural, reparations, which has a different meaning. Okay, let's take care of that. I need to erase all this thing. There are some words which are very easy to remember, or comparatively speaking, they are easier to remember, and then there are some that are not so easy. These four words always give me trouble. I can never keep them straight, so I figured I'll cover them formally. Hopefully it will help me a little bit more in my remembering these words. Reparations, hopefully in the plural, as you can see here, is the word that you hopefully have heard of in your history classes. One hears about reparation payments that were required of Germans after the Second World War, which simply means compensation required from a defeated nation for damages and injury, or injuries if you like. So here there's a requirement here, whereas reparation in the singular simply means a sense of atonement, where when you're atoning for something, nobody is asking you to do it. You just go and you say, I'm sorry, I did something to you. This is what I'm going to do in return to make up for something. That's atonement. That's expiation. That is not the case here when in the plural. In the plural, it becomes almost not almost an obligation. It is an obligation. Reparations are obligations, are requirement that are imposed by the victors on the defeated nation. They go to the defeated nation, the person who they have just defeated, and say, listen, you did all of this damage to this and this of a location or to my country. You need to pay for us to rebuild these things. The damages that we did to you, we won't talk about. Let's learn the last word. The last word I want to talk about, literally it's not a last word, but it's a word that we just used. We said to make amends. Atone. to make amends. But what does it mean? To amend, the reason I want to talk about this word separately by itself, to make amends, here it's being used as a noun, here we're talking about amend as a verb. Amend has two meanings. One meaning as we are using, which we are already using here, which is to improve one's behavior. By saying, I'm sorry, I did something bad, I did something wrong. What can I do to make things better? And that's called making amends for your wrongdoing. To atone for your wrongdoing or to make amends. To make amends. Usually it is used in plural. But as a verb, it has another meaning. To amend something also means to improve or somehow revise or simply revise a law. To improve or to revise a law is to amend it, hence the amendments. So an amendment simply means it's a revision. It's like a, what's the word I'm looking for? No, that's a different word. To revise a law or to improve the law is called amendment. It means to amend the law. To amend the law means to revise it. It can also mean to improve your own behavior, to amend, to atone, to make up for your wrongdoing, to atone for your sins. That's it. That was it for today. That was the end of today's lesson. I wanted to cover these three words because, as I said before, these four words, as I said before, because they bother me. They bothered me a lot, and I figured I will sit down and actually learn them properly, officially, and formally. And hopefully they will stick in my mind better. Tomorrow on day number 18 I'm going to do the similar exercise where there are three words that always confuse me, and we're going to learn those three words together. We'll try to have a better understanding of those three words. The words for tomorrow are reverberation, repercussions, and ramifications. They also basically have the same meaning, but they have different nuances. We'll talk about them tomorrow. Three words only tomorrow. Or like maybe more. Who knows? Sometimes I lie. That was the end for today. I hope you found it helpful. If you wish to get hold of me for personal private tutoring, I tutor for GRE, GMAT, SAT, and TOEFL. Go to any of these website addresses and send me an email from there, or you can simply go to kashwaniprep.com and send me an email from there. Let me know which exam, which test you're preparing for, and I'll be more than happy to help you out in whatever way I can. I tutor over the internet via Skype. I also tutor face-to-face in Connecticut and New York area, and of course over the telephone. Alright? Thanks.